How come you don't dance to it, Bucky? Okay, hello there, everybody. It's your good friend Pozzible here, and I got Bucky.
Hello.
And Joe.
How's it going?
And we're here today to continue a new segment we have here called the Mindless Musings of Pozzible, this time with my super friends. Because basically, one thing I noticed that when we do reviews and stuff, we have to be very contained. We don't want to give away too much information because we want you to see the movie, or maybe we don't want you to see the movie, but we still don't want to give away spoilers and such. But here at Mindless Musings, we get to, so to speak, let our hair down and just let loose and get to say whatever we want. Today is more of a battle, though. This is where we get to discuss a movie that I liked, but apparently Joe and Bucky have yet to appreciate.
I don't think there's much appreciation in that.
Iron Man 3.
Wait, did you smell that?
What's that?
Bullshit.
Oh, come on now! Iron Man 3, I know a lot of people are jealous. It's the highest grossing movie of 2013. A lot of people are comparing, of course, to the Transformer movies that made a lot of money but weren't very good. At least Iron Man 3 was good. And or at least I will dare say it was risky. And no, that is not what you think it is, Bucky. I don't know if you heard it, but he sniffed. So let's start out, the basic story for those of you who should know. If you don't, you're going to find out now. This is about Iron Man versus the Mandarin, which everyone has been really looking forward to. It's his signature villain, and guess what they did to him?
They put him in the movie.
They basically didn't have the Mandarin.
Well, they kind of did.
But not the way the audience wanted.
Exactly. Now, one thing you have to remember is that I'm actually not a big Iron Man fan, so I don't read the comic books, and I'm not familiar with his villains. So then when they show you the 10 rings of whatever they are, what are the 10 rings called?
The 10 rings.
Of what?
I don't remember.
Are they just the 10 rings?
That's what we'll call them for right now.
Okay.
But
they didn't mean anything to me, so I just thought, okay, 10 rings. Terrorist symbol, no big deal. The build-up of Ben Kingsley as a terrorist leader was really good. But I enjoyed the fact that they took the risk in turning him into Trevor. The actor who basically was more of a drug addict and a drunk, and he just pretended to be the Mandarin so that the real Mandarin, played by Guy Pearce, even though
he wasn't the real Mandarin.
There was no real Mandarin.
He yelled out, "I'm the Mandarin!" But then again, is it really fair to do that, to make Aldrich Killian the Mandarin?
He's not the Mandarin.
But think about it just for a second. That's like saying, I know this is crossing reference, but I can't think of anything else at the moment. That's like all of a sudden Lex Luthor turns out to be the Green Goblin. You're taking two villains and you're combining them. Now, of course, one thing I want to say is that we are taking it from the perspective that just from Iron Man 3, there is talk in the Marvel/Disney universe studios that they want Ben Kingsley to come back and actually be the Mandarin this time. However, we're going to ignore that fact for now and just take Iron Man 3 as it is. Let's go away from the Mandarin once again. Let's talk about the pacing of the movie and the overall development and setup. I thoroughly enjoyed it, despite its many flaws. The fact that a missile could come at Iron Man's house. Sure, I could understand that happening in Iron Man 1. Maybe even at Iron Man 2, but if you're in Iron Man 3, you would think that the Iron Man would have this awesome defense system to protect his home after being a superhero for so long. But like I said, I was willing to ignore it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny. The introduction of his old girlfriend. I remember when she came up and she was like, Tony's like, by the way, I hope I don't have a 12-year-old son. And she goes, oh, he'd be 13 by now. And he just kind of panicked about that. I thought it was all funny. But just the movie itself in the beginning, what were your thoughts on it? Go ahead, Bucky.
Overall, I was trying to keep an open mind. I was thinking, okay, I don't know that much about I don't read Iron Man comics that much either. And I don't know anything about the Mandarin. I've never read a comic book with the Mandarin. And I thought, okay, this would be a chance for me to learn about the Mandarin. A good leap into the comic books. But obviously... Right? I didn't get the Mandarin.
You weren't going to get the full story of the Mandarin either, not his origin, or they turned him into a punchline, basically.
And the whole Eldritch Killian and the extremist thing, that's the most generic type of superpower that we've seen in movies.
The fire?
Fire, basically. And their clothes don't catch on fire, so thank you, Mr. Fantastic for those unstable molecules.
Asbestos lining. Why can't people understand that? Yes, we can take our hands and we can melt metal to the point where it bends over and falls, but we can't burn or singe our own clothes. You know what? Okay, so even if you get your clothes to protect yourself against the extremists, right, or extremists, that one lady who she's in a blast, it blows up and all this fire engulfs her, but her clothes are only a little scathed, you know. All right, go ahead, Joe. What did you think so far of this movie?
I didn't care for it. I found it very slow, very dull. I didn't like the fact that he had all these Iron Man suits that were basically, you could throw a spitball at them and they'd break apart.
You know, you got to remember, though, those were extremist soldiers. They were very powerful soldiers.
Also, when he got hit by the truck.
He got hit by the truck.
Okay, that was the Mach 42. Let's be fair. It's already in pieces.
He broke one of his own suits apart just by hitting it when it was attacking Pepper. He thought it was going to attack Pepper when they were in bed.
That's a good point.
And he ends up power down, he hits it, and it just falls apart.
Okay, he told it to power down. Remember, that's still the Mach 42. And the point of the Mach 42, according to this movie, is that it's allowed to be in pieces. You know, it's supposed to come to him and form on him in pieces. So when he tells it to power off, it shuts off all the power. He whacks it, and it falls apart.
But the thing is, I know he's Tony Stark, and I know he's confident, but how confident would you be as a superhero if your metallic costume came to you in pieces at like 100 miles an hour each?
You know, well, he's developing it. He's trying to... Remember, this is a guy who was able to do like this backflip when he was first learning to fly and all that.
Right.
And he hits his concrete wall and falls onto the ground. And that would have killed him or at least done some serious damage to him. And he shakes it off.
Because technically this wasn't Iron Man 3. This was Tony Stark 3. He was more time as Tony Stark than he was as Iron Man.
Actually, I look at it as Tony Stark 1. We've had Iron Man 1 and 2. Now we're getting Tony Stark 1, Part 1.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So maybe they'll do a merger where we'll combine Tony Stark movie with Iron Man movie.
But remember, this is also to be expected. Earlier, I was talking to you guys about this. I had to do the podcast by myself. I did a podcast called The Top 5 Overused Superhero Cliches that happen in movies all the time. And I think either number 1 or number 2 was they lose their powers. They become regular bad. Because let's face it, what is the true point of Tony Stark not having an Iron Man outfit? All he had to do was call up and one of his other 41 outfits could have come. But he didn't do that.
I mean, take away his suit and what is he?
Regular man.
A billionaire, philanthropist.
Exactly, that's the answer I was going for.
Oh, you're going for the
Avengers
reference, yes. So that was still a great movie. As far as the highest grossing movies, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some severe flaws in logic, which we saw from CinemaSins.
And I will say that if you are right about the actual Mandarin coming back and being Ben Kingsley, we're going to have a Julia Roberts thing all over again. And you know how I felt about that.
No, actually, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about Oceans 11 and 12?
Oceans 12.
Oceans 12, that's right.
Okay, for those of you that have not seen it.
Spoiler alert, but that's what this is about.
It's not really that much of a spoiler. Plus, I'm saving them 2 hours.
Yeah.
Basically, Julia Roberts' character is named Tess. And in the movie, she was dating George Clooney or married or something. And in the movie, there's a secondary character played by Julia Roberts who actually was Julia Roberts. And Julia Roberts played Tess and Julia Roberts.
Well, she played Tess pretending to be Julia Roberts.
Right.
And the worst part was they had to put a pillow under her because when you first see Tess, it's pretty obvious she's pregnant. She's doing some ironing and she's wearing the big pregnant clothes.
But still, I'm just saying that whole subplot. I really hate it when they do stuff like that.
It was stupid.
It's like I'd be happy now. I mean, I'd be happier not having the Mandarin at all than to have Ben Kingsley come back as the Mandarin. If you're going to have the Mandarin in a future movie, have someone else be him.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to give it a chance. One thing I want to say about the Mandarin issue is that, in my opinion, I felt it was a very bold move to do that to the audience and to the series in saying, oh, look, here's your massive villain, and his name is Trevor. This is like finding out that Lex Luthor only runs a hot dog stand. You know? This is like finding out that, help me out here, the Joker actually only does kids' parties. Nothing?
That doesn't work for you. Not when you're watching a superhero movie.
Right, you want him to be bad.
If you were going to watch a comedy spoof movie, yes, that would work.
But one thing I think they're trying to go for is they're trying to go for one of the things that we're always obsessed with. We're always obsessed with the main villain. We're obsessed with the figurehead. So Aldrich Killian, who felt himself to be the Mandarin because he had the tattoos and he could breathe the fire, but Aldrich Killian hid behind Trevor, letting him be the Mandarin.
But the thing is, if you want a good villain, just give us someone who's memorable. That's why Loki worked. He wasn't powerful. He didn't have muscles. Loki worked because
he was clever.
Exactly. He was tricky. He was deceitful. You know? It's like, how many times did when we saw the Avengers and Thor 2, how many times was like the wool pull over our eyes for something Loki did?
Mm-hmm.
You know? He's a smart guy. Just give us a smart villain.
Well, that's what. I mean, don't you? I mean, let's take for 1 second that we do accept Guy Pearce as Aldrich Killian as the Mandarin.
No.
Don't you think it's great that he was so intelligent and
No.
clever that he
No.
tricked you? He showed you
No.
this bearded guy.
No.
And, I mean,
No.
and, okay, now we're going to talk about one specific scene in this. It's the scene where the Mandarin desperately wanted the president to call him, and he had a gun, and they brought this guy, and they threw the guy in front of him. And we never saw the scene, okay? But when you saw what the people's reaction, you got the impression that the Mandarin, even though the president did call him, he shot the guy anyway. You know, because he's sitting right by the phone. He told the president, "You better call this number right now, or I'm going to shoot this man." And everyone's telling the president, "Don't do it, don't do it." But the president said, "I'm not going to let some guy die on television." He calls the guy, right? Do you remember the scene I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah.
Maybe you sort of. I can't really picture it right now.
Yeah, I remember it.
But still,
time.
Yeah.
I might remember it when you get to the point.
The point is, what really happened? Did he really kill that guy? Because remember, Trevor said they would never let him have a real gun because they didn't trust him with it. And Trevor always believed that the whole thing was make-believe, that he was just acting, you know? That he just was doing a role.
So remind me, in the movie, he didn't actually shoot the person, right?
Well,
They never really said
They
that.
never revealed the outcome.
Gotcha. Okay, so it might end up being like a ransom thing.
No. Well, we don't know. See,
no, not ransom. The Negotiator.
Oh, right.
Remember that
right.
movie with Kevin Spacey and Samuel L. Jackson?
Right.
There's this one scene where we, the audience, think Samuel L. Jackson shot at one of the hostages.
Right, exactly.
And it's like everyone's all here, oh no, we got the emotional thing going.
Yeah.
And then it's revealed like a few scenes later that he's shot into the wall next to the hostage.
Right. And he revealed to Kevin Spacey that the hostage was still alive.
Right.
They never revealed anything. The only thing you really saw was you see Ben Kingsley holding the gun, waiting for the president to call, doing a countdown, and then you saw the people's reaction as he pulls the trigger.
Right, so, you know.
But, I mean, that was actually one of the more interesting scenes because they never revealed what really happened, if it was just Ben Kingsley acting and they made it look like it was authentic. You know, they just did a bunch of special effects. That guy, you know, is just another worker for them. Or did they kill him in real life? You know, kill him later or something. Because you never saw the guy again.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
something for Iron Man 4, obviously.
They built it. Oh, don't go there. You know why? I'm still pissed off about X-Men. You know, Senator Kelly, is it?
Yeah.
They never revealed what happened to the real guy. He just turned to water for all we know.
Right. I mean, I remember rumors speculating that he became like the Spider-Man villain Hydro Man.
Yeah.
Because he dispersed into water, you know, but they never actually said he's... Because it was something Magneto said. Because Storm said, you know, I saw him die in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
And then Magneto said, and this was the key thing, he said, are you sure you saw what you saw?
But the worst thing is that they never came back to it. They literally just let it go.
See, that's it. Pretty much, for those of you that don't know, I'm kind of alone in my thoughts. I like things being kept a mystery, because when you explain something, it's usually disappointing. Or do I need to bring up the subject of midichlorians?
Oh, we don't have to go there.
Okay, thank you.
But the point is, it would be nice to have a definitive he's dead or he's a mutant. You know? Because let's face it, without him coming back, people just assumed he died. You know,
Who knows? Maybe we might get an answer in X-Men: Days of Future Past.
that would be the last chance, in my opinion. I mean, but to be
Well,
honest,
the thing
I've already
is-
let it go.
I was gonna say, if not, let it go.
Yeah, I've already let it go. He died. Magneto didn't have the machine properly calibrated yet. You know, so that's why Senator Kelly died from that experiment.
He didn't die. He was a mutant.
Well, how come we don't see him again?
Mutants can die.
Yeah, but he didn't die. He's a mutant.
Maybe he died as a mutant. Maybe he couldn't figure out how to control his power, and so he lives in the lake. You know, he's what you drink now. He's in your drinking water.
It's a comic book movie. 99% of the deaths are never final.
I know.
So he didn't die.
Yeah. So with that said, any other thoughts on Iron Man 3? In the end, I want to conclude that I still enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie. You know, it's one of those movies where they do have those flaws, but I forgive them because it's a superhero movie, and you know, it's fun. I had a lot of fun with this movie. And I thought that it was gutsy that they took this chance and went in a direction that literally no one else expected them to go in. I think they've gotten a lot of crap from it. However, it's gotten a lot of reward for it too. I mean, let's face it, this is the highest grossing movie of the year, $1.2 billion. You know? So
It's one of those things. They were expecting a good movie. They went to the theaters paying to expect a good movie.
yeah, but then why did they
And
go
once
twice?
they see a movie, you know, you can't get a refund.
Yes, you can. If you leave within the like 5-10 minutes, you can get a refund within.
But you can't judge a movie, you know.
Depends on the
But
action.
still,
Everything.
it's like, and with this, you and I are in disagreement. Like I said, so many cliches throughout the movie. When people go to a superhero movie, they expect to see a superhero movie, not something that turned out to be a comedy. You know, the way they did the trailers, we were expecting the badass Mandarin, and we didn't get it.
You had him for the first few minutes.
I mean, basically, I will give the movie just the hype up until the big reveal. You know, I mean, I was curious. You know, here it is on screen, the Mandarin. You know, and it's
Woohoo!
exactly. And then all of a sudden,
My name is Trevor. Hey, ole, ole, ole. Okay,
but still, it was like,
Joe, final thought.
oh, yeah, actually, one last thing.
Yes.
For those that want my detailed review of this movie, you can find it on UnleashTheRobots.com.
Joe, final thoughts.
I still did not like this movie. I thought it was the worst in the series. I thought it was one of the worst superhero movies, although I will give it props. It was better than Batman and Robin and Superman Returns. I like them a little bit better. Or I like this one a little bit better than those. So I will give it credit on that. I mean, the big thing is, if you're going to have a superhero movie without an actual superhero, Robert Downey Jr. is probably one of the good ones to do because he is pretty good. You know, he's a pretty good actor. So, I mean, I would have rather seen that than have maybe, like, you know, Christian Bale not putting on the Batman suit, you know?
Right.
I think.
So you're saying Robert Downey Jr. has the charisma?
Yeah, and I think, yeah, like I said, if you're gonna do a movie where you're just gonna have a human guy, Robert Downey Jr. is probably a good safe pick.
All right. So there you have it. 1 right answer, 2 unfortunately not correct answers. But I mean,
I didn't think Bucky was that wrong.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, guys. It was great you listening. We hope you enjoy your next movies, and we'll see you at the theaters. Take care now.
Be seeing you.
Bye.
What? Your review blows?
No.
Well,